Hi, in this video I will show you how to solve the update matrix equation from Leetcode. The question says, given an m by n binary matrix, return the distance of the nearest zero for each cell. So the nearest zero for each cell, so in this case the nearest zero here is 1 all over. While since these are zeros, then they will remain 0. So thus the answer here, it's 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and then 0, 0, 0. In the next example, it shows that you have 0, 0, 0, then 0, 1, 0. So the nearest 0 to this one right here is one of the cells, one of the neighboring cells. Therefore, it is 1. The same with this one. It's right there. So it is 1. And this one here is 1. But you see that this cell here is 2, and that's because the nearest one is either via this one here, or via this one here, or the other way here, or this way here. So then the nearest 0 is by 2 cells. So how can we solve this question? Well, the first thing we can do is iterate through the whole grid. So let's take this as an example. So we say that the width of the grid, so or we say the height. The height of the grid is the matrix, and the width of the grid is matrix 0. So that's the width, and this is the length. And we can iterate, so then I'm saying for I in range height, for J in range width, and if we say if ij equals 0, then oops, then we want you to do something. So once you find a 0, I want you to do something. What we can do is if you find 0 and the values you're trying to find is the next one is 1, then you can start looking for, hey, I'm at 0. Where is the closest one? So, well, it can be either here or it can be here. If you go to the next one, well, it's going to be right here. So what does that mean? I and j starts here. And if I'm going to look at the neighboring cell, if it's 0, then it stays as is. If it's 0, it stays as is. If I have explored all of them, then I want to move the starting one to the next one right here. So hey, look at this. Well, this is 0, but if I take a look at this one here is not 0. So how far is this cell from me? Well, this cell is 1. It is 1, as it says here. The distance is 1, so it's 1. And you're trying to allocate the distance of the nearest 0 for each cell. So the nearest 0 for this cell right here is 1. So if the matrix ij equals 0, I want to append this 0 so I can discover it, so I can start discovering it in somewhere else. So I can just create a list, calling it q, and then I say q append ij. Okay, so I'm going to do something with this q, but for now, I want to have a map, or I want to have a list where all my ij's are located. If it's not a 0, what shall I do? Well, we can mark it by something so that we can look for it for later. We can look for it later. So what does that mean? Let's see. Mat ij, so matrix ij. So if this here, we say it's equal to 0, but if it's not equal to 0, then change that number to hash. So then I know that if I'm going to do this, so this here, I'll maybe find a different color. That this one right here will be hash. This one here will be like so. And then the rest of these will be in queue. Okay, let's iterate through this and see how does this work. We can say for row column, in Q. So then it will be the coordinates of this number right here. And if I want to check the neighbors, I can do for dx dy, for dx dy in 1, 0, minus 1, 0, 0, 1, and 0 minus 1. And basically, these numbers here mean iterate in the x direction by 1 or go in the opposite direction by minus 1 while keeping the y the same way. The same with this, keep the x the same way and move the y 1 or minus 1. So if you think of it here, it's like check this direction, okay, check this direction, check this direction, and check this direction, which is what the question is asking you to do. So I'm going to create a new variable, call it nr and nc for column and row. And then basically what I'm doing is I know that the value of this here is stored. That's the I and that's the j. And now I'm adding dx, which is 1, and dy that is 0. So I'm going to iterate through this 4 times. So I'm covering all 4 directions if a 0 was found in the queue, which I discovered earlier here. So now I want to check, is this nr less than the height? And is it greater than or equal to 0? Because I want to make sure it's within the walls of this numbers. And NC should be less than or equal to the width. And that these values actually consist the hash, which I have done right here. So if you find a hash, that means it's not a 0. And I want to know now, how far is this hash right here from whatever 0 I'm trying to explore? So if it's true, so if it's within the walls and the map nr and rc contains a hash, then get me those values, those coordinates. So here you see, get me those coordinates nr and c. So let's say this would be I2, J2. So basically in I2, J2, where the value is actually 1 already, which is just a coincidence, or that's what the question specifies at least. Um, you want to say extract the value of the column and add 1 to it. So what does this mean right here? So let's say I'm here and I've discovered this down here, and that was 2, 2. So what you're saying, get me the value of this one, which is 0, and add 1 to it, which means, hey, this is 1 cell away from me. And let's take this example down here. So let's say you are right here. So let's say the macro column was right here, and the nr and c would be here because this would have been a hash. And here it would have gotten the value 1. What this says is get me this value and add 1 to it. So this would have been 2. And that's why you get 2 here, because it has built it on one of these values. And remember, in whichever direction this would have came, it would have always equaled 2 because the previous cell had a value of 1. And then once you come to this cell, you want to append this cell, nr and c, here, to your original cell. So then you're able to continue exploring. So now this has the value 2, and you want to explore the neighboring cell, so you append this nr and c. And once you're finished, then you can return the matrix. Now let's see if we got the right answer. We have some invalids. Yep, I see it. Let's see. We got the wrong answer here. And that's because I did a checking condition here instead of equal. So let's try it now. And there it is. Here is our solution. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. If you've learned something new in this video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.